There are certain types of trees that seem completely harmless, just planted in front of the house for a bit of shade. But in the world of Feng Shui, they can actually open the door to misfortune, even silently draining the wealth and luck of the entire household. The main entrance of a house is not just the way in and out. It is also the point where energy flows in, the energy that determines whether the home will thrive or decline. When the wrong kind of tree is placed right in front of the door, you unintentionally create a wall that blocks positive energy, allowing negative energy to creep in. This can lead to conflict, illness, and financial loss. Our ancestors used to say, "A bright entrance brings prosperity, while a dark one brings decline." Just one tree placed in the wrong spot can turn a warm, lively home into a heavy, gloomy space, making it hard to maintain lasting abundance. In today's video, we are going to explore 7 types of trees you should absolutely never plant in front of your house and why they carry such powerful influence. You may be surprised to learn that some of these trees look beautiful, yet are actually bad omens in Feng Shui, causing money and good fortune to flow away and never return. Before we dive into the main content, leave a positive affirmation in the comments to invite wealth and harmony into your home. For example, "I welcome prosperity and peace into my family with an open heart." And do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any helpful Feng Shui tips that can bring more peace and prosperity to your household. So now, let us get straight into the most important part. The 7 types of trees you should absolutely never plant in front of your house, because they may be the hidden reason why your family's wealth and health gradually decline. Number 1. Cactus. Cactus, with its thorny appearance and sharp spines covering the entire body, carries a very distinct type of energy. In Feng Shui, anything with sharp points is believed to emit sha qi, a form of negative energy that brings conflict, tension, and hostility. When you place a cactus at the main entrance, what Feng Shui refers to as the mouth of energy, where luck and prosperity enter, you are not inviting in positive energy. Instead, you are unintentionally creating a fence of thorns that blocks the flow of good fortune. The front door should always be bright, open, and welcoming, because it is the pathway through which positive energy, wealth, and abundance enter the home. But cactus represents dryness and harshness. It absorbs positive energy and sends it back out through its spines, which symbolize resistance. As energy flows past the cactus, it becomes scattered and unstable, making it difficult for prosperity to settle, and harmony within the family becomes harder to maintain. Not only that, the nature of cactus is to thrive in dry, extreme environments, places with little life force. In Feng Shui, this is seen as stagnant energy that does not support growth or bring freshness to a space. Placing such a plant at your front door is like placing a heavy veil over your home, reducing vitality and blocking the openness needed to attract wealth. For these reasons, cactus should only be planted far away from the front entrance, in places where it can act as a protective shield, repelling bad energy from the outside, rather than aiming its sharp thorns straight into your home. Placing cactus right by the door is like building a barrier that not only hinders prosperity, but also introduces tension and conflict into the household. To put it simply, cactus symbolizes resistance and barrenness. Placing it in front of your main entrance means bringing those qualities into your living space. This is something Feng Shui strongly advises against, in order to protect both your fortune and family harmony. Number 2. Willow tree. The willow tree, with its slender form and soft, silk-like hanging branches, often gives people a sense of peace and calm. However, few know that in Feng Shui, the willow is actually one of the trees you should never plant right in front of your house, because it carries energy that makes wealth and luck slip away, like water flowing out and never coming back. Willow trees naturally love moisture and tend to grow near water, by ponds, lakes, or riverbanks. In Feng Shui, the element of water represents movement and constant change. When you place a willow, strongly associated with the water element, right at your main entrance, you unintentionally disturb the energy flow in your home, making it unstable. As a result, wealth and blessings can easily be carried away by the wind. In other words, having a willow at the front is like hanging a thin curtain. Pretty at first glance, but ultimately blocking good luck from coming in. There is an old saying, willow at the front, sorrow at the door. This refers not only to the willow's drooping shape, but also to a deeper meaning. The downward hanging branches represent the suppression of positive energy, making the home feel lifeless and lacking motivation. When positive energy is weak, the space becomes gloomy, and household members may feel sadness, fatigue, or even suffer from declining physical and mental health. Moreover, while the willow's form is graceful, its drooping nature is the opposite of what Feng Shui recommends. Trees planted in front of a house should grow upward, symbolizing progress in fortune, career, and health. The downward branches of a willow pull the energy down, making it hard for luck to rise, like a boat stuck in place, unable to move forward. Another practical issue is that willow roots grow aggressively. They spread widely and deeply, potentially cracking foundations, damaging walls, or causing dampness around the front of the house. Increased moisture weakens the life force, and negative energy can accumulate more easily. This is what leads to declining fortune and a loss of comfort and warmth in the home. Not only that, on windy nights, the rustling of willow leaves and the gentle creaking of branches can sound like sighs or whispers, unintentionally creating a cold, lonely atmosphere. Many people believe that if a willow is planted near the entrance, especially facing the north or northwest, where strong winds blow, it can lead to fatigue, restless sleep, and over time, a lingering sense of unease. That said, this does not mean the willow tree is entirely bad. If planted in the right place, such as in a backyard garden, by a pond, or in an area where excess positive energy needs to be softened, it can help cool the space and bring emotional calm. Just remember, avoid placing it at the front door, where bright, strong, and expansive energy is needed. Number 3. Mulberry tree. The mulberry tree has long been familiar in everyday life, known for silkworm farming, as well as its fruit and leaves used in traditional medicine. But from a Feng Shui perspective, especially when it comes to the main entrance, the so-called mouth of energy of the house, the mulberry is considered highly unsuitable. Planting it right in front of your house not only fails to bring luck, but may also block the flow of good energy, making it harder for wealth and smooth progress to enter. The most obvious characteristic of mulberry trees is their dense foliage and vigorous growth. As the tree matures, its thick canopy often blocks out natural sunlight. In Feng Shui, sunlight is regarded as the most vital source of positive energy, helping a living space feel bright, fresh, and full of life. The main entrance, in particular, needs more light and openness than any other spot. because it is the path through which prosperity flows into the home. If the mulberry tree shades this area, the light is cut off, and the entrance becomes dark and gloomy. This prevents positive energy from entering, and instead allows heaviness and negative energy to build up, slowly draining the house of its vitality. Aside from the issue of sunlight, mulberry trees are shade-loving and thrive in moist soil with high humidity. Because of this, they are considered to carry a strong yin energy. When this kind of energy is placed right at the main entrance, it disrupts the necessary balance between yin and yang, one of the core principles for maintaining harmony in Feng Shui. When yin is too strong, positive energy cannot flow freely. The house becomes stagnant, things stop going smoothly, wealth becomes unstable, and prosperity is hard to maintain. For all these reasons, mulberry trees are absolutely not suitable for planting at the front entrance. If you enjoy this plant or need it for other purposes, it is best to grow it in the backyard or in a hidden corner of the garden. Somewhere, it will not interfere with the main energy flow of the home. As long as you avoid the most important spot, the front door, you can still benefit from the tree without letting it negatively affect your home's Feng Shui. Number 4. Pine tree. In many cultures, pine trees are seen as symbols of longevity, resilience, and strength. Their evergreen color and tall, upward-reaching shape often remind people of perseverance and vitality. Many families plant pine trees, hoping to draw from their strong life energy and use them as focal points in the landscape. However, when viewed through the lens of Feng Shui, especially at the main entrance, which is considered the mouth of energy for the home, the pine tree can become a choice that carries hidden disadvantages. The first issue lies in how the pine tree grows. It grows quickly, with thick and wide-spreading foliage. When planted right in front of the house, this dense shade unintentionally blocks natural sunlight, making the entrance appear dark and heavy. In Feng Shui, the front door should be bright and inviting, as it is the pathway for positive energy to flow into the home. But when the shade of a pine tree covers the entrance, the first impression for anyone approaching is gloominess and heaviness, and that directly affects the ability of good energy to circulate fully. Another concern is the sticky resin pine trees produce from both their needles and trunks. Over time, this resin can drip onto the ground and become difficult to clean. On top of that, pine needles shed constantly. Without regular cleaning, the entrance can quickly become dirty, slippery, and even moldy. In Feng Shui terms, this represents stagnant energy. When energy builds up without moving freely, the space loses its brightness and purity. Eventually, the sticky resin and piles of dry needles covering the ground become like a heavy curtain blocking the energy flow, making wealth harder to attract, luck harder to retain, and the overall atmosphere inside the home more tired and sluggish. Number 5. Ferns are familiar plants, often used to create natural green spaces. However, in Feng Shui, they are considered plants that carry strong yin energy, and if placed in the wrong spot, they can negatively affect the home's energy flow. The most noticeable trait of ferns is that they thrive in shady, damp areas with little light. Because of this, the energy they emit is heavy with yin qualities, leaning towards stillness and darkness. When they appear in spaces that need light and brightness, ferns unintentionally bring a sense of heaviness and imbalance to the energy flow. Another reason ferns are not highly regarded in Feng Shui is that they do not bloom or bear fruit like many other plants. In Feng Shui, flowers and fruit symbolize growth, abundance, and prosperity. The absence of these symbols makes ferns represent stagnation and a lack of progress. Additionally, ferns often grow in dense, low clusters that spread outward rather than upward. This growth pattern gives the impression of being scattered, unfocused, and lacking direction. Energetically, this symbolizes dispersion, making it difficult for wealth and opportunities to gather or for efforts to lead to successful results. The dampness associated with ferns is also considered a disadvantage. Moisture represents stillness and is thought to encourage the buildup of negative energy. Over time, areas surrounding ferns may begin to feel dull and lifeless, affecting the mood and enthusiasm of the people living in the house. For these reasons, ferns should only be planted in secondary areas, places that do not significantly affect the home's overall energy. Avoid placing them in key spots because their yin, damp, and non-flourishing characteristics can easily lead to stagnation, gloom, and unstable fortune. Number 6. Cypress tree. Cypress trees are well known in many cultures and are often planted in sacred places such as cemeteries, memorial sites, or spaces associated with silence and remembrance. For this reason, in Feng Shui, the cypress is not considered a suitable tree for daily living spaces, especially not near the front of the house. Cypress trees grow tall and straight, with dense, evergreen foliage. At first glance, they appear to symbolize endurance and stability. However, energetically, their thick canopy often creates a sense of heaviness and darkness, making the surrounding space feel gloomy. In Feng Shui, natural light and open spaces are crucial for maintaining balance and nurturing positive energy. The cypress, with its strong coverage, unintentionally takes away that brightness, allowing energy to become stuck and stale. Aside from the issue of light, cypress trees are deeply associated with loss and mourning. They have long been used in cemeteries and places of remembrance, and this symbolic connection adds another layer of negative meaning. In Feng Shui, cypress trees emit still, cold energy with little movement, evoking loneliness more than vibrancy or joy. This type of energy is not well suited for homes, which need warmth, harmony, and good fortune. In addition, the root systems of cypress trees are typically strong and far-reaching. Physically, this can disturb the foundation of the home, causing structural issues if planted too close. From a Feng Shui perspective, such roots symbolize overreach and imbalance, disrupting the flow of energy. When planted near a home, cypress trees may not only disturb the energy balance, but also represent instability and unease. Cypress trees are best suited for sacred places that call for stillness and solemnity. But within a home environment, they do not bring positive energy. Instead of representing prosperity, they tend to evoke sorrow, isolation, and excessive stillness, qualities that can reduce vitality and limit the flow of blessings. Number 7. Chestnut tree. Chestnut trees are common in many parts of the world and are known for their strength and durability. With tall trunks, broad canopies, and strong roots, they can live for decades or even centuries. Because of this, people often view the chestnut tree as a symbol of endurance and longevity. However, from a Feng Shui standpoint, especially when planted in front of a house or near walkways, chestnut trees can bring several hidden drawbacks that affect the energy balance and flow within a living space. The most obvious issue with chestnut trees is their wide-spreading canopy. Once fully grown, their branches can cover a large area, casting heavy shade and making the surroundings feel dark and heavy. In Feng Shui, the area around the front entrance should be bright and airy to welcome positive energy, sunlight, and fresh air. But the dense shadow of a chestnut tree blocks this, creating a gloomy atmosphere where good energy struggles to gather. As a result, wealth and luck are harder to maintain. Beyond the shade, the root system of the chestnut tree is another major concern. Its strong roots grow deep and spread widely in all directions. In reality, they can shift the soil and damage nearby structures if planted too close to the house. In Feng Shui, such invasive root systems symbolize disruption and a loss of balance. Rather than providing a sense of grounding, a chestnut tree near the house can introduce instability and uneasiness into the space. The long lifespan of the chestnut tree is also something to consider. In open, spacious land, this trait symbolizes strength and endurance. But in smaller residential settings, it can translate into stagnation. Instead of allowing energy to move freely, the overwhelming presence of the tree can trap energy and cause it to build up, reducing circulation and vitality. What is more, during autumn, chestnut trees shed a large amount of leaves. If not cleaned up promptly, the thick layer of fallen leaves can quickly decay, causing mold and unpleasant odors. In Feng Shui, this is seen as a sign of energy stagnation, preventing fresh energy from circulating. A yard covered in rotting leaves not only looks unkempt, but also gives the entire home a sense of heaviness and dullness. So, while the chestnut tree is undoubtedly a valuable species with ecological and cultural significance, it may not be suitable for residential use, especially near front entrances or walkways. With its large trunk, strong roots, wide canopy, and heavy leaf fall, the chestnut tree can easily lead to decreased vitality, unstable fortune, and limited prosperity. Therefore, chestnut trees are best planted in large open spaces, parks, or wide gardens, where their impressive presence can shine without disrupting the energy balance of a home. But in smaller residential areas, especially near doorways, Feng Shui experts advise against planting this tree to preserve a bright, open, and prosperous living environment. You may love a certain type of tree, but if it is accidentally planted in the wrong place, it can still affect the feng shui of your home. So what should we do if some of these inauspicious trees are already growing in front of the house? The first and most effective solution is to move the tree to a corner of the garden or to a less important area. When the tree is no longer blocking key locations, especially areas that influence the main energy flow, its negative impact will be greatly reduced. At that point, the tree can still thrive and remain a part of your landscape, but it will no longer interfere with your family's energy and fortune. If the tree is already too large or cannot be moved, you can simply trim its branches and leaves to allow more light through. When natural light can pass through the canopy, energy is able to circulate more freely, and the atmosphere becomes lighter and more uplifting. This is a simple but extremely effective way to reduce the heavy yin energy created by dense foliage. In addition, you can use feng shui remedies to help balance the energy. For example, placing a small water feature near the tree can bring freshness and flexibility to the energy flow. Hanging a mirror in a suitable spot can reflect and disperse negative energy. Or even easier, installing a light in the shaded area can enhance the yang energy, adding warmth and brightness. The most important thing is to always keep the area around the tree and the entrance open, tidy, and well lit. No matter what type of tree you plant, If the area is dark and overgrown, energy will become stagnant, and good fortune will struggle to thrive. On the other hand, when the space is open and filled with light, wealth and abundance will naturally gather, and prosperity will last longer. As we have seen from today's discussion, trees not only enhance the beauty of your surroundings, but also have a direct impact on Feng Shui and the prosperity of your family. The 7 trees we explored all share certain characteristics that are not ideal. Thick canopies that block light, large roots that disturb balance, or symbolic associations with gloom and loss. When placed in the wrong location, they can easily drain good fortune, scatter luck, and create a heavy atmosphere around your home. However, Feng Shui is not rigid. If you already have some of these trees, you can still fix the issue by trimming, relocating, or adding elements to restore balance and improve energy flow. The key is to make sure your living space remains bright, open, and full of vitality. When that happens, luck and prosperity will naturally come your way, and your family will continue to enjoy peace and abundance. If you found today's content helpful, leave a comment with a positive affirmation to welcome good energy into your life. For example, I choose to bring light, prosperity, and peace into my home. And do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you can keep following these simple yet powerful Feng Shui tips that help your life grow more prosperous and joyful every day.